So way back in January, before this crap storm known as 2020 happened, I did a video on here for my top 5 most anticipated movies of this year. So far, because of COVID and everything going on, I've only got to see one of them. That changed on Christmas Day, whenever Wonder Woman 1984 came out, which was my #1 most anticipated video, and it came out on HBO and in theaters. And we're going to discuss it right now. Wonder Woman 1984. That's our movie review. Before I go any further, headline, spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about spoilers in this, so if you have not seen it, you have been warned. And now we'll proceed. Wonder Woman 1984, starring the ever so yummy Gal Gadot. This is her role. She owns it, in my opinion. I don't want to see anyone else play Wonder Woman other than her. The second one, it revolves around Kristen Wiig. She plays Cheetah in the movie, one of the villains. Third person it revolves around, Chris Pine, which is odd that he's in here because he died in the first one, but we'll discuss that once we get going. And the fourth person, his name is Pedro Pascal. You may have heard about him. He's on some little show on the Disney Plus channel called The Mandalorian. And you may not see his face that often because he's usually wearing a helmet, all except for, I think, 3 times in the series. But what he's most known for, in my mind, because I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, is the Red Viper, Oberyn Martell. That's right. So there's your 4 main characters that this revolves around, and we're going to get going. And I'm going to list the things I liked about it, and then we'll get into the things I did not like about this movie. And there are more things that I did not like. I apologize for the people driving up the street right now with their loud truck. We'll go ahead and get this going now. Showbiz, right? So anyway, things I liked. Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot plays her butt off in this role. I don't blame her for why I don't like this. And it has a good story at the beginning of it. I've seen some people say they didn't like it. They show her little girl back on the Namaskara, where all the Amazon warriors are from, and they're doing like their version of the Olympics. And it tells a story about how she tries to do it with the adults she was gifted, always has been. She's the chosen one out of all of them. They say that in the first movie. But she gets knocked off of a horse, and then she misses one of the obstacles she's going through, and she takes a shortcut. She's a little girl in this point in juncture. At the end, she isn't allowed to finish by her aunt because she's teaching her a lesson that you cannot cheat. It'll get you nowhere. I liked that. I saw some people didn't, and then it cuts to this 80s cheese scene from the 1980s, which it is an 84 movie, but it just, I didn't feel it. The first 2 acts in the first movie were outstanding. I felt like the villain landed strong on this one. The last act is the best part of this movie. And then you get to Steve Trevor. How did he come back? Well, they have this thing called the Wishing Stone. And the Wishing Stone, whoever touches it and wishes upon it, gets a wish. But there are some side falls with this. Now, of course, Gal Gadot hasn't had a companion since Steve died in the first one. She wishes for him back. And then he takes the place in some guy's body. And that's how you have that. Well, Kristen Wiig wants to be everything that Gal Gadot's main character, Diana Prince, is, so she wishes to be her. And she starts getting all these superpowers. And then Pedro Pascal, who, in my opinion, killed it as the villain. He wished to be the stone whenever he touched it. He knew everything about it. And he become, I don't know what he was supposed to be, but it was like an evil wish master. You wish for something, but he takes something away from you. And he started taking over the whole world for 1984. Satellite systems, everything. I'm not going to go into the gist of it and ruin everything. But that's how Steve Trevor gets brought back. And that's what some people were wondering. And if I ruined it for you, I said there was going to be spoilers at the beginning of this. Now let's get into the things I didn't like. One of the things I just touched on. 80s cheese. I did not care for half of this movie. I even dozed off a little bit. And that is never good because it was a movie I was really looking forward to. But the CGI at the end when Wonder Woman is fighting Cheetah was done at night, and I think that's to mask how bad it was. She didn't look terrible, but she didn't look great. It wasn't nothing compared to some of the CGI we see in the Marvel movies, and I don't want to compare DC to Marvel, but They have laid the groundwork. I mean, their stuff is outstanding. Next thing, the storyline could have been way better. I felt like Cheetah was shoehorned into this. It could have been just the Wishmaster that I'm calling him, and been just a fine movie. Maybe not had to throw in some of the extra stuff. I felt like because it is Wonder Woman, they had to bring in an extra villain to show that she can fight two at the same time. Other than that, I'm not going to rip this movie too much because it gave me two things that I really like to see. Gal Gadot looking yummy again, and two, movie theaters. They're actually flourishing. This weekend, whenever we was out on the day after Christmas, because this was leaving on Christmas Day, there was actually people there. It wasn't an abandoned wasteland. I'm hoping we can start opening some stuff up. I know what we're in the middle of, but if they take precautions, these businesses are going to shut down. Me and my wife's favorite dates are going to see movies and getting excited for the comic book stuff. So if I'm going to give this anything as a rating, I'm going to go with 6, and that's being generous because I didn't care for it all that much. But that's just my opinion. Hopefully y'all liked what you've seen here. If you disagree with what I've said and you've already seen it, please comment below. I'd love to hear somebody else's opinion. My wife doesn't have the same opinion as I do. She felt like I was too harsh on it, but what do you think? Hope y'all like and subscribe if you do like what you see here. And as always, bye. Make good choices.